listening to Speaking with One Voice with Rodney Payne. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, topics you'd like discussed on the show, or if you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email us at rpayne@onevoiceinc.org. That's rpayne@onevoiceinc.org. You can also search for us on Acast, Google Play, SoundCloud, and iTunes. Just look for Speaking with One Voice. Now, here's your host, Rodney Payne.
Hello, and welcome to Speaking with One Voice. I am your host, the coach, Rodney Payne. I am so glad to be with you again this week here on Speaking with One Voice, your leadership podcast devoted to adding value to you and or your leadership team. I want to thank you again for continuing to be a part of the One Voice family as we continue to do the best we can to serve you and keep you well equipped as leaders. I also want to ask that you will continue to follow us on all of our social media platforms at Rodney R. Payne, at Rodney R. Payne. I want you to like our post. I want you to subscribe to our podcast on YouTube at Rodney R. Payne or wherever you're consuming this content. And please turn on your notifications so that you are the first to know when we have new content available. So I am excited. I'm excited. I want you to make sure that you are visiting our website, rodneyrpayne.com. There you can pick up your free gift. And we are just days away from a major announcement. So keep tuning in each and every week right here on Speaking with One Voice. Today, I want to talk to you about establishing effective processes. We started this in our last episode. I want to continue this thought of establishing effective processes. We really want to get to a place where as leaders and as teams, we are able to maximize our productivity as we go through the process. And what I believe, it is my conviction that when we have effective processes, we gain clarity, we gain consistency, and we increase our productivity. Things that I can put on into a system, much like our decision-making system, these things are going to help us to really maximize our efficacy as it relates to leadership, team building, culture, environment, you name it. Consistent processes are going to help you. And that's what makes us effective, is when we're consistent. So I want to share a few thoughts with you today. The first thought I want to share about this establishing effective processes is understanding process design. We talk about this from time to time. I want to dig just a little bit deeper today as we talk about how do we get in the output of an effective process. It comes by designing the process. So how do we get clear on designing processes? Well, understanding good process design includes three things that are going to help you: clarity, consistency, and flexibility. That's right. If you want to design a good process, you have to be clear on your desired outcome. What do you want this process to do? What is the outcome we expect? How do we expect it to look on the other side of this system? We have to be very clear. Now, once you develop clarity, now you have to deploy clarity consistently. So whatever you come up with, you've got to do it consistently. There are so many things we could talk about here on consistency. I'll just highlight a few. Number one, when we talk about consistency, we're talking about building a system that we can measure and we can then determine its effectiveness. If you want to know if something works, you've got to be very consistent at deploying it. That's right. You've got to make sure that you are doing it all the time or on a consistent basis or at consistent intervals so that you can then go back and measure if it's working. So many times we have great ideas and they are amazing and we deploy them, but we don't keep doing them. And then we think they didn't work. Well, we don't know if they worked or not because we didn't give them a chance because we were inconsistent. That's one thing, even with your social media strategies. Most everyone has a social media strategy. You decide which platform is best. You decide what type of posting you're going to do. What I can tell you is experts say if you want to develop a social media footprint that's effective, you have to post consistently. There are many different schools of thought on how often you should. Some say daily, some say 3 times a day, some say 5 times a day, some say weekly, or whatever. But what everyone agrees on is that don't commit to more than you can do consistently, because if you drop off anywhere in the process, you're going to lose momentum and lose your ability to quantify the effectiveness of the system. So if we're talking about good process design, we've got to have clarity. Where are we trying to get to? What do we want to be the outcome? But then we've got to do it consistently. Then also we have to have flexibility. Now, one of the things that happens when you develop systems or we develop strategic plans is we get so committed to them that we are unwilling to move. If you're consistent in what you're doing, you'll find out what works and what doesn't work. And when you find out something doesn't work, you must be flexible enough and willing to change. I know I said the C word. You've got to be willing to change, but don't change prematurely. You cannot change before you have data to tell you if it's working or not. So if you've not been consistent, there's really no way for you to really evaluate how things are going. So I want to make sure that you understand that flexibility only comes into play when you have data to support the move. Now, I talked about not being premature in your flexibility, but also don't be delayed. Don't have data that proves to you that a system is not working, but you won't make the change. When you are looking to understand this process design and know that it includes clarity and consistency and flexibility, you can't wait too long when you have information that tells you, that proves out to you that this is an ineffective process or an ineffective system. You've got to be willing to be flexible. Flexibility could come in modification or it could come in overhaul. Sometimes you got to throw it all away and start over. Sometimes you can make a minor tweak or a minor change. There's that C word again, and you'll be just fine. Just know that good process design, it's going to include clarity, consistency, and flexibility, and they are essential to effective leadership. When we think about process-oriented organizations, what statistics say that when you have a process-oriented organization, they say they see up to a 33% improvement in overall productivity. That means you can increase your productivity by 1/3 by having effective, efficient, clear, consistent, flexible systems. So I want to make sure that we're on the same page here. So my first thought is understanding process design. Secondly, we talk about this all the time in one way or another, but we talk about frameworks for implementation. We can have the best system with a poor implementation or rollout that just really messes everything up. So I want us, if you're looking to establish effective processes, you have to have an implementation framework. You often hear the word in new system development called beta testing. It means we do dry runs, we test it, we roll it out slowly. But whatever our process is, it's a system that allows us to put our frameworks in, and we want to make sure that we have the right way of going about this. So when you look at framework implementation, you want to employ frameworks that help us, because when you think about your leadership, when you're making changes, there's that C word that keeps coming up. Leaders have to be agile. Your team has to be lean in the leadership area, because if you get too many voices, you can't get any progress. And so what you want to do is leveraging one of our recent topics, collaboration. It makes for a quicker decision-making cycle, because we know that we have input from everybody, we have a small team, and we're ready to go. How do you get, so we can collect data forever, but at some point we've got to implement. And if we have a framework with specialists, collaborators who contribute, it's going to put us in a better position. See, agility means that we are not stuck in the mud. We are willing to move. We can be agile. We can be nimble. And when we have agile and nimble practices, it shows up in the statistics where what you see is teams can increase productivity when you're willing to move. When you got to move, do it quickly, do it efficiently. That says in many cases we can see 25 to 50% increase in productivity. It's not that not amazing. I mean, we can really do that. So we have to make sure that our frameworks for implementation are ready and that they are accurate and that they facilitate getting the thing off of the strategic planning desk, off of the blackboard, off of the vision board, off of the planning cycle, and getting it into circulation. We need to increase our productivity. And I'm telling you, if you can increase it by 25 to 50%, it will be life-changing for your organization. Listen, you are listening to Speaking with One Voice with your host, the coach, Rodney Payne. We are here each and every week to add value to you and or your leadership team. A good tool and resource that you can get to help you with this process of establishing effective processes is going to be my book, Critical Decisions Made Easy. Pick up your copy wherever you get your books, or simply visit us at rodneyrpayne.com or DM us. We will get you a copy as well as a link. Now, back to our thought for today, establishing effective processes. Let's see if we can move forward. We've talked about frameworks for implementation, but now let's talk about prioritization techniques. In other words, what goes first? As a leader, it is critical that we prioritize tasks for maximum, for optimal efficiency. And we have to use techniques that will help us to get there. You got to understand, if you're going to prioritize tasks, there are many ways to do this. Now, I'm a little different. I don't mind check boxes, but I only want a few. I don't want 15 or 20 things to do on my to-do list. So when I'm trying to get processes in place, I like concise, clear, quick bullet forms. So as bullet points. So as a result, when you see me and I'm prioritizing tasks, I'm going to use a method of getting not my everyday things that I do. I don't need a checklist for things I do every day. It's just not required of me. But the things that I need to work on are the priorities, the major projects, the things I cannot forget. Those are things that I will put on a list. There are various techniques and you can research them. Just Google prioritization techniques. You'll find things like the Eisenhower matrix. You'll find things last in, first out, all that kind of stuff. You can figure out which one works for you. But the key is, if you're going to be effective in process development, you have to have a way to prioritize your task. Now, as an aside here, one of the key things that I teach in my book, Critical Decisions Made Easy, is how to delegate. Many times your list is too long. Many times your desk or your plate is too full. It's not too full because you have too much work to do. It's because you are unwilling, unable to actually share your workload by delegation. I didn't say dumping, I said delegation. Delegation is when you empower someone and you authorize them after equipping them to handle a specific set of tasks. It's not to just dump it off your desk, but really there are some things that you have to get out of your hand. Your span of control and your capacity is only so much. And you should not let your capacity be filled up with work that can honestly be delegated to a team member. So when it comes to prioritization, you need to first clear the plate. Get things in order. Keep only those things which require your process, your decision, your hands. The others, let's build, let's invest on the front end. Let's equip our teams to be able to take on a workload that works for them and us. And quite frankly, we should be putting them in areas where they are experts, where it's easier for them. Maybe I'm not as strong in that area, but that is going to change your productivity by leaps and bounds and bring something to the job that we're not talking about. At this phase of life, and I say this phase of life or career, I am most concerned about fulfillment in what I do. I want to feel good about it. I want to get a return. Sure, it's about your money. It's about your, compensation. It's about your product. But at the end of the day, I am fulfilled. When we come on here each and every week and add value to you, it is like setting a fire under me because I know you're a great leader and I know you're getting this. I know you're investing in yourself and it excites me if you can't tell. So when we talk about prioritization, understand prioritization does several things. One is it reduces stress. When I prioritize, I know that I get my important things done first. So if my day runs long and I don't get to all of it, I know that I got to the most important things. Prioritization uses your best time first. So me, I am a morning person by a long way. So my most difficult tasks are prioritized at the top of the morning. Why? Because the top of the morning, I'm fresh, I'm energetic, and my think quicker, my capacity is better. Hey, let's get it, let's go. I'm ready to tackle the day. And when I do the most difficult things first, I start my day with a win. And when I start my day with a win, I'm positioned for downhill momentum. I've got the hardest thing off my desk. It's all downhill from here. Let's go. So when you prioritize, you literally reduce stress. Not only do you reduce stress, you improve outcomes by, watch this, statistics say you get an improved outcome in team satisfaction of approximately 18%. Satisfaction, there's that word that aligns with fulfillment. That's what I want you thinking about. Let's go do a great job in areas that are fulfilling to us, that we enjoy, my friends, and that we are good at. That is so, so good. Oh, I've got to give you one more. I've got time for one more thought. So we just talked about prioritization techniques. Now I want to talk about, excuse me, simplifying complex tasks, making the hard easy. Let's figure this out. So there are some things that are just difficult to do. And I teach people on a regular basis that if you can break down what's complex into something manageable, it makes everyone around you easier to work with. Because when you break down the complex task and the manageable steps, it brings clarity. It gives us not only clarity, it helps us to understand expectations, and it minimizes confusion. So when I've got clarity on expectations and I've reduced confusion, guess what happens? I also reduce delays. Now we get projects done on time. We get them done at the right time. We get them done. Why do we get them done? Because we have a system. We're not going to take and how do you eat a pizza? One slice at a time, right? That's what we do. We break it down, and that makes the complex less complex, and it becomes very clear on what we expect. It minimizes confusion, and it reduces delays. So what happens if we do this and we take projects like this, we actually shorten our project development time by up to 40%. By up to 40%. This is so significant, my friends, because now we can literally get there quicker if we take more time on the front end and are very, very clear and break down things. Sometimes all projects are not created equal. All collaborators don't contribute the same. It's a lot to do. And so when we get things in our area, if we will begin to break those things down, we can really, really move the needle in our organization. And that's what I want you thinking about. Oh, I've had such a great time with you today. Let me take just a moment, and I want to hit our just do a recap real quick. So we're talking about establishing effective processes. We're talking about leadership development, growth, running organizations in a way that really helps us to be winners within our organization. So there's 4 steps we've given you today. We talked about understanding process design, what it takes. How do you design a process? How do you create a process or a system? This is a differentiator between you and your competition. We talked about frameworks for implementation. So we have to design it, but then we have to implement it. Not only do we design it, but we implement it. We have to do something with it. And then once we're in the process, now we want to make sure that we use some prioritization techniques, whatever those may be for you. But we want to make sure that we get the hard stuff done and we break it down into manageable tasks for everybody so that we understand that we got to get this done, this done, this done. Now we have measurable and quantifiable productivity. And then lastly, we talked about simplifying complex tasks. when I can make the difficult easy by breaking it down, by being clear, what's going to happen is I'm going to accelerate productivity, which is ultimately the goal. Now, the bonus for this particular thought in this episode is this. When we really take time to establish effective processes, we change the culture of our organization. When everyone is clear on what we're doing, when everyone understands that we're in the process design business and we have frameworks to implement these processes, and we want to start by prioritization techniques to get the right things done at the right time, and we want to make the difficult easy or simplify complex tasks. When we communicate that clearly, our place of business becomes a place where the culture is commonality, the culture is winning, the culture is consideration, and you go from good to great. And this happens because of leadership. My mentor, John C. Maxwell, says everything rises and falls on leadership. So I don't want things falling on you, my friend. I want things to rise because you are an outstanding leader. I cannot believe it. Our time is already up for today, but you have been listening to Speaking with One Voice with your host, the coach, Rodney Payne. We are here each and every week to add value to you and or your leadership team. Do me a favor. Stop by RodneyRPayne.com. Get that free gift on how to move the needle in your organization. Don't forget to like us, to follow and share this podcast. Go to our YouTube channel at Rodney R. Payne and subscribe, or wherever you're getting this content. I want you to subscribe. Turn your notifications on so that you're made aware every time we have a new piece of content. And I've been teasing you for a couple of weeks. I think I'll be ready next week to give you an announcement that I am so excited about. I've got an opportunity that you do not want to miss. So when you're listening, we love feedback. We love the likes. When you're on our social media, like our posts, like them. Whether you're on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, it doesn't matter. Like and also comment. Feel free to DM me a question. And also, if you'd like a specific topic covered here on the podcast, or perhaps you might want to be a guest, you can always DM me or go to our website and contact me there at Rodney R. Payne. www.rodneyrpayne.com is the website. Everything else is at Rodney R. Payne. Listen, I am so excited you decided to join us today and invest in yourself. You are a great leader, so make today a great day on purpose. You have been listening to Speaking with One Voice. I am your host, Coach Rodney Payne. Until next time, my friends, let's keep growing together.
You've been listening to Speaking with One Voice. Please remember to follow Rodney Payne on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Rodney R. Payne. We'd love to hear from you and get your feedback, so please feel free to leave us comments. And if you would, rate and subscribe to the podcast, we'd appreciate that as well. Don't forget to set up for notifications so you can get the latest updates and social media posts and get new podcasts when they're released. As always, use the hashtag Speaking with One Voice or simply SWOV on any of your social media posts.